Merry Christmas, everybody! Christmas, a time of family, presents, white shit falling from the sky, and celebrating some dude's birth. I mean, don't you just love Christmas?
But it's not Christmas.
As I was saying, for this time of giving, I've decided to give someone I've commentated on once before a present. Another commentary! I think that's how Christmas works, right? That said, I don't think I can give this present alone. I got it! Hey, someone commented on the Tamashi Pop commentary.
Where? Oh, I see it. You guys are Wait a second, that was you!
Well, it's still somebody.
Oh, you're not.
Well, since it was you, why call us?
Because Pokemon.
Oh, I guess that makes
Yeah,
sense.
okay, that makes sense. We have been establishing a bit of a trend recently.
Whatever.
Wait, don't you have other Pokemon-centric friends too?
You forgot about them, didn't you?
Don't forget, roll the intro! Before I start the commentary proper, I want to make a disclaimer, given some of the reactions to my previous commentary. Regardless of what I think of the people I commentate on, regardless of the motivation behind the commentary, and regardless of what I say about the people I commentate on, the purpose of my commentaries are, and have always been, for the purpose of criticism and entertainment. How harsh you think I come off as, or how comically driven the commentary is, should not distract from actual arguments or legitimate criticisms directed towards you. Furthermore, criticism given in a severe manner can still be constructive. It just means the criticism won't be sugarcoated. If I ultimately come off as harsh, it won't be for the sake of being harsh. It'll just happen that it came off that way. Are we good? Well, I hope so, because I'm starting the commentary anyways. No! Don't you ever touch Lana again!
Wait, what did you just shoot? ChaosKey? Yourself? The footage? Lana? Rion?
Ow! My Chipotle!
Stop using my avatars!
Why did you do this to me?
At least he has yet to touch any of mine.
Well, that intro was shit. Now, I know Sean's made a new intro since making this countdown, but we want to criticize what he changed for this Halloween edition of his old intro, just in case he tries to do this again.
First off, the audio is fucking shit. What? Could you not find a better version of this on YouTube? Or even rip it yourself? All it is a random static transition clip you found that you inserted. Unedited, mind you! Into the intro, followed by bits and pieces from the opening of Pokemon Crystal. This is lazy. You could have at least done something. Like play the static clip for a second and then cut it at the beginning in order to have some form of glitchiness. Next is the fact that you're using unknown as something spooky, though I'm gonna let Gale cover this.
Oh no, it's unknown spooky. Seriously, dude, if the unknown's creep you out, you spent way too much time watching the third Pokemon movie.
Then there's the Giratina bit. That comes out of nowhere and has no time to build up, thus rendering it as nothing more than a badly executed jump scare. Seriously, learn to edit, you lazy fuck.
What happened? Did I doze off while editing?
Wow, he even bores himself. That's impressive since even Meta probably laughed at his own jokes.
What the...
Complete a top 5 Halloween countdown about something dark within the given time. Failure to complete the list shall result in erasure.
I like these implications. It's now my headcanon that Sean is actually dead and these videos are nothing more than his eternal torment for being literally Hitler in a previous life, all because his parents never let him go to the Fall Out Boys concert with his golf girlfriend, which is totally different from Emo, by the way. So he ended up doing a murder-suicide on his family, but that failed since it turned out he didn't have the right dosage of weed to OD off of, so he went to jail and then played butt buddies with Big Bubba and ended up killing him due to Sean's weak pelvis. What the fuck was any of that?
Okay, Sean, look. I know from having to rewatch your Mario power-ups list an ungodly amount of times that you have a camera that isn't bolted to the floor.
Happy late birthday!
Why go the lazy route and just take a picture of your hand? I think I just answered my own question.
Speaking of lazy, you didn't even bother to try and get a close facsimile to the font of the world ends with U? I googled TWEWY timer font and found, as the first results, the goddamn font as a download! And you also didn't even try to properly center the text on your hand. Yes, that is a nitpick, but damn is it fucking annoying to look at. Also, why the fuck was there no sound effects? This is basic referencing 101. If you're gonna reference something, you better not do it half-heartedly, or you will look like you're a, say it with me,
Lazy cocksucker. What, just me?
Well, if it's a creepy list you want, it's a creepy list you're gonna get. And I know just the topic to cover. Pokemon. The series where you capture and train these awesome creatures to become the very best like no one ever was.
To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
But for a series geared towards children, there is some weird, dark, and creepy stuff in this series that makes me question just how kid-friendly it really is.
Holy shit, he's actually playing clips from Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and acknowledging the Aura games here. Yeah, keep this in mind because we'll be getting back to this later.
And that's what I'm counting down. These are my top 5 dark and creepy things in Pokemon.
You say that these things make the series not child-friendly, but there are plenty of things that I've done and had worse that are still considered child-friendly. What, is it something special that needs note because it's fucking Pokemon? What, do you need a fucking parade for this stunning revelation that a company isn't treating its target audience like lobotomized slowpokes?
These dark and creepy things can range from anything in the series.
Anything?
Better see some manga action, maybe a little anime here and there, and if you dare leave out Explores the Sky!
Oh god, that goddamn toaster in Gen 5 freaked me out. It better be on here, or I'm subbing just to unsub!
Let the chaos commence.
The pun doesn't get any funnier nor any more clever the more it's used. I have no idea how often it's been used, nor do I really care to find out. All I know is... Can I play the clip? That clip from my solo commentary, you know the one. Can I play it? Chugga Conroy, you are not. I rest my case.
The first generation.
He says while showing footage from the Gen 3 remakes.
It's what introduced the world to Pokemon with its 150 monsters, memorable music, and some interesting locations, with one of the most standout locations being the one and only Lavender Town. The story of this town goes like this. Team Rocket invaded Lavender Town, kidnapped Mr. Fuji, and killed the resident Cubone's mother. Wait. They killed the Cubone's mother. In a kid's game. Rated E for everyone? More like rated E for explicitness.
Yeah, off-screen death. Explicit. Look, I know it was a joke, but what I'm trying to say is, your joke is shit.
Oh no, it's like death is a real-life concept or something! Besides, they never show how the Marowak died, or describe how the event occurred. They just said that Team Rocket was responsible for killing Cubone's mother. It's sad and admittedly dark, but that doesn't mean it's not kid-friendly.
How is that shit explicit when that Marowak's death happened off-screen? You want an example of an actual on-screen death that messed with kids' heads, yet it happened in an E-rated game? Here. Moral of the story, kids, dark stuff can happen in an E-rated game. Hell, it's not just games. There are plenty of G-rated movies where main characters that aren't villains die on screen.
Mufasa! No!
That, for example.
This town is also home to the Pokemon Tower, which is basically a giant Pokemon graveyard. The tower is haunted by ghosts, it's full of Chandlers who are possessed by ghosts, and before you can reach the top floor, you encounter the restless ghost of Cubone's mother, a Marowak. Only by defeating it can you calm this weary spirit. The music, at least in the original games, was a very unsettling tune.
Yeah, the only reason that music was unsettling in the original games was because it was 8-bit. If you listen to the song in the Gen 3 games, it's actually quite calming and nice to listen to, at least in my opinion. Even when I played the original games as a kid, I never found Lavender Town's theme to be creepy or unsettling, just grating on the ears.
And the ghost sprite from the original is kinda creepy with that disturbing, derpy face. Ugh.
Derpy equals scary. Duly noted, DDD is now the scariest Kirby boss.
I just don't know what went wrong.
Oh no, not this again, not this again!
But the reason why it's so low on the list is because in later games, the town's creepy factor kinda went away.
That would be because in the Johto games, Lavender Town is no longer a cemetery town. The Pokemon Tower is just another radio station, and all the graves are moved to Mr. Fuji's house. The creepy factor wore off in Gen 2 because Gen 2 Lavender Town wasn't intended to be creepy.
Plus, I really wouldn't say this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
Wait, the number 5 entry on a list of creepy things from Pokemon isn't the creepiest thing from Pokemon? Well, color me surprised.
So disturbing
And blue.
because of the weird creepypastas that have come from it. Seriously, just look up Buried Alive and Lavender Town Syndrome, and you'll know exactly what I mean. It's some very messed up crap, let me tell ya.
If what makes Lavender Town seem so creepy nowadays are the creepypastas, then why not have those appear on the list instead? I mean, you did say anything during your rules, and there's still dark and creepy things relating to Pokemon. Or, at least I assume they are, since you're telling us to look this shit up when you, as the presenter, should be starting that job.
So wait, unrelated internet fairy tales are now reason enough to put it on a list? Wow, and here I thought that putting something at number 1 on a most disappointing game list for change was retarded.
In Black and White, if you go to the Marvelous Bridge, there's a chance you'll encounter a mysterious ghost girl. An old woman tells of a girl who used to play with her Abra during a time before Marvelous Bridge was built. Fast forward to Black 2 and White 2, you'll come across the Strange House, which is a house known for a sad incident that is said to keep people away. The inside of this house is an absolute wreck, making you ask questions like, why is this house in ruins? What happened to the people who lived here? Why are the bookshelves downstairs talking about Dream Eater Pokemon?
Must resist urge to make Hypno's Lullaby reference.
And for goodness sake, why are those objects moving? This is some really messed up shit.
Hi, joke lifted from one of Josh Gorcher's videos. How's the weather?
Many thoughts tug at you as you walk through the desolate landscape, such as, this is the fate of everything if I don't succeed. I wasn't fast enough to save all of these innocent people. Is this what nothing is like? Is this what hell is like? And my favorite one? Goodness gracious alive! How long do I have to keep walking before something happens?
Oh, hi, Rion. Seriously, you set up a perfect tone that actually kept me invested. Strange for a ChaosKey video. But nope! Screw audience investment. You had to shoehorn in a reference to Josh because you can't make your own jokes, and anytime you try, it's nothing more than shitty puns or some shit.
Even if it wasn't meant as a reference to Josh, it still breaks the creative investment due to the sudden and jarring change of tone in your voice and attitude. By making the changes less severe, even if investment to the overall atmosphere dropped, it still would have flowed better and not killed the tension you were creating. Also, Gail, what the fuck are you doing? I am pretty sure that the background is not This Is Halloween. Can you know what? Fuck it. Finish up with what you're doing.
Children, you were not clever. Now you'll stay with me forever.
Are we done?
As you explore the house, furniture that was blocking your path earlier suddenly moves out of your way for you to explore more. And then, you find the ghost of a girl who rambles on about an everlasting dark dream. And then she asks where her mom, her dad, and her... Wait, Abra? Don't tell me. Is this the same girl? Yep. And when you run into the girl again, she'll talk about how she supposedly heard her father's voice telling her to stay with him and forget about the Lunar Wing. Lunar Wing. You mean the thing that has to deal with Cresselia? So you reach the final room and discover a Lunar Wing, only to have the ghost girl appear again, explaining to you that she was waiting on Marvelous Bridge to return the Lunar Wing to Cresselia. And then she vanishes. So, what exactly happened here? It's obvious the girl died before she returned the Lunar Wing to Cresselia, but how did she die? Well, while it hasn't been confirmed, it's assumed that Darkrai killed her with its power of inducing nightmares in people's sleep.
Darkrai killing a little girl? Not E for explicit enough. Needs more creepypastas and hyper-realistic blood.
Ah! Too hyper-realistic!
Platinum's Darkrai event did it better. Yeah, it's a special event, so unless you were able to get the member card item that triggered the event in-game, or you have an action replay and use a cheat to get said item, you won't even be able to see the Darkrai events in Platinum. But even if you can't do that, there are videos of it online. Seriously, there's a link for one in the description.
Still counts as anything, by the way, so no you.
Platinum's Darkrai event involves the player character. The player character is putting him or herself in danger to face Darkrai directly. You go to New Moon Island in your nightmare to face Darkrai. You have to defeat or capture Darkrai in order to find out the truth about it. The truth? Darkrai isn't actively malicious. What makes the whole Darkrai thing even worse is that it's implied through the "though you don't will it" quote after capturing or defeating Darkrai, that Darkrai doesn't even have full control over its power of sending people and Pokemon into eternal nightmares. You seem to imply that Darkrai is actively malicious in what occurred at the Strange House, when the member card Darkrai event in Platinum shows that Darkrai can't even control its own power. How is that not any worse than the Strange House event in Black 2 and White 2? Speaking of the Strange House in and of itself, the only reason I had so much to say in response here was because I've seen the member card Darkrai Platinum event for myself. The only reason I had much to say here at all was because I was comparing the Strange House event to something else. To tell the truth, I really don't have much to say solely about the Strange House event. I haven't played Black 2 and White 2 in a while, but seriously, I really don't remember much about my experiences checking out the Strange House when I played through Black 2 and White 2. When I don't even remember much of my own experiences going through that event, then it must not be all that creepy to me. Think about that for a bit.
It makes sense that it would be Darkrai, since the girl says, "everlasting dark dream." And the voice that the girl thought was her father's could have actually been Darkrai trying to keep her away from the Lunar Wing, which is said to get rid of nightmares. This is easily one of the darkest and most disturbing moments in Pokemon I've seen so far.
Yet it's only number 4. GG on the wording there. G motherfucking G.
It's shocking to even think what could have actually happened to this innocent child. May she rest in peace.
Who got the whiplash? Look, your normal transitions don't usually bother me. They're not really out of place in your other countdowns, and they do their job. But for this list, I take issue with them. Why? This is supposed to be a list about the creepiest shit the Pokemon series has to offer, and the tone you try and go for, the imagery, and the music all try to create this unsettling atmosphere. And for brief moments in your countdown, they can actually happen. Then you try and go to the next segment, and what are we greeted with? A clip ripped from Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, and a guitar riff. Neither one complimenting the atmosphere, but rather taking away from it. This sudden and jarring change is further highlighted by your lack of fading out, making your transition come seemingly out of nowhere. You could have easily reworked your transitions, or how you led into them, to make them seem less awkward, while still keeping the tone you tried to create. Instead, we get sudden Keanu Reeves.
It wouldn't be a dark and creepy Pokemon list without bringing up the Pokédex.
You know, that encyclopedia of Pokemon entries that many fans have reason to believe are written in-game by kids?
You could literally make a top 10 list from just disturbing Pokédex entries alone. But since Jay Witz already does this, I'm just gonna talk about the ones that creep me out the most.
Oh no! Someone who you didn't need a name drop got to a topic before you! I guess it means you can't do it anymore. Isn't that right, top 15 Mario power-ups?
Am I the only one who finds it kinda funny that he's using an obviously hacked Pokédex? I know in the long run it doesn't matter, but this feels out of laziness that could easily bleed over into the rest of the list since it only takes a few seconds to turn out the shiny code in the emulator of your choice. Or hell, just find a regular completed Pokédex.
Specifically, the Pokédex entries of the Chandelure line. Reading these entries really make me question why these games are rated E.
Because they are optional things that most people are at most going to glance over after they caught the mod. There's also this whole thing of them never happening on screen. Ever. Also, isn't this a cop-out since this is more than one for an entry?
Litwick's Pokédex entry states that it pretends to be a guide in the dark, when it's really just absorbing the life force of those that follow it to fuel the light on its head. Considering the Celestial Tower and the previously mentioned Strange House are full of Litwick and a bunch of trainers, yeah, I don't want to think about what could happen. Lampent appears right when someone dies and takes their spirit away. They even so much as hang around hospitals for patients to die.
At least they're waiting for the patients to die first instead of killing the patients themselves. I can think of other Pokédex entries where the mons in question are much more malicious than that. Frostlass, for example, freezes its victims and puts the resulting frozen statues on display. Dino eats anything that moves, and its fully evolved form of Hydreigon will attack, consume, or destroy anything and everything it comes across. You're saying that a mon that waits for its victims to die first is creepier than mons that actively pursue living victims? Even with subjectivity being taken into account, the type of subjectivity seen in these kinds of lists should still have some sense of logic behind it.
So you're telling me the light that people see when they die is actually this lamp with arms? Man, no wonder people say not to go into the light when someone is about to die.
Lamps? No!
And we just killed our punching bag.
Well, maybe this wouldn't have happened if you two used your damn psychic powers.
The fuck are you talking about?
You're both fucking psychic types!
Can't you learn psychic type attacks?
How about we get a new one? Hey, Hobbs!
Come on, man. Don't tell me you're scared of a little light.
Oh, hi, original character. Nice to see that you take after your cousin Donut Steele in the originality department.
Wait, doesn't this mean the cameo is also dead?
I wouldn't have my headcanon any other way.
Your username references Kingdom Hearts, for frick's sake.
Oh, look, ChaosKey is such an egotist that he made his cameo follow his own bullshit ideology of the No Swearing Club.
In fact, to everyone watching, what's wrong with some of us not wanting to swear? Maybe we're just trying to show more decency than the average person. Maybe we're just trying to set a good example for the youngins. And besides, it's like what Stuttering Craig said in that one top 10. You don't need to cuss to get your point across.
How childish. Even Josh let Alex swear in their co-op instead of forcing him to oblige his ideology.
Josh, that's a big fucking cake. That's a big fucking cake. Fucking.
Now, just for clarification, that was meant to be censored, and the fact that it wasn't simply meant that Josh overlooked it when editing. That said, it also tells me that Alex doesn't have to tone himself down whenever he does something for Josh. I do not get that for your cameo. Why do I know he has to tone himself down? How about we take a look at the countdown he released 4 days after your own?
I don't think a song in a game has consistently made me say, oh shit, more than this one. Oh shit, what is that? Ah shit, there's another. Oh shit, they're everywhere. Ah shit, they have spikes now? Hey there, you're looking pretty fancy. Fuck.
So it's clear to me that if you didn't write your cameo's lines, your cameo's script was influenced by your ideology and cussing. And if somehow it wasn't, how you acted there doesn't help convince me otherwise. Oh, and while we still have this here, I want to say a couple of things, namely the why for that rant's existence. According to Miss Anna's story, she was being made fun of because she was using "shoe" as a substitute for swearing. Have you considered the possibility that they were making fun of Miss A not because she refused to swear, but the way she went about that? So, not only were you being condescending as fuck, but it could have been unwarranted. Speaking of assumptions, assuming that Josh and Maverick don't swear because they want to set an example. Because, you know, maybe they just don't swear in general. And while it's true that you don't need to swear to get something across, whether one wants to or not is their choice, and they shouldn't be chastised because they want to. And unlike you, I don't need some vague source to tell you that.
Didn't you say you liked the element of light?
Well, yeah, but...
Have you been a sham all along?
No, I am the Keyblade Warrior of Light, Chaos, and Shout.
You just called yourself a giant key-wielding soldier of bright shit, disorderly conduct, and speaking really loudly. That must be the most ridiculous thing I've heard someone call themselves unironically. Seriously, congrats! You've just made the Autark of Flames name sound fucking budged by comparison.
Ugh, great. I just got my internal bleeding from cringe fixed. Give me your PO so I can mail you the hospital bill later.
Want a lamp for your room?
I am the Keyblade Warrior of Light, Chaos, and oh no, a lamp! It's scary.
Okay, I think you've overstayed your welcome. Goodbye.
Aw, but he was the best part of the video.
And original character was never heard from again. May he rest in spaghetti forever.
And then there's Chandelure. Its white Pokédex entry says that being consumed in its flame burns up the spirit, leaving the body of that person behind. So let me get this straight, Dexter.
Don't you just love when someone talking about the games references something that's only a thing in the anime?
Dexter, why the hell are you carrying a serial killer in your pocket?
DD, get out of my laboratory! Where are we even going with this?
You're telling me these living, floating light fixtures leave behind dead corpses?
I don't see any mention of Chandelure actively pursuing and killing victims in any of its Pokédex entries, except for maybe its Dex entry in black, but that's debatable. And it still doesn't change the fact that the Dino and Hydreigon entries are much more consistent in their claims of how malicious they are.
And when these spirits get burned up by its flame, they lose their way and wander the world. Forever. Yeah, suddenly I don't want this Pokemon on my team anymore.
So you're dissuaded from using a Pokemon because of a Pokédex entry, something that not only never happens in-game, but if it were to happen, is easily preventable. Do you by any chance sleep with bubble wrap on?
When you think of Johto, the word scary isn't really something that comes to mind.
When I think of Pokemon in general, the word scary doesn't come to mind.
With the exception of one area, the ruins of Alph. Now I know what you're thinking.
No, you don't.
Aquaman ejaculate on your granite countertop? You just earned yourself the Jumbo Mighty Thirsty.
The ruins of Alph scary? It's more of a tourist site than anything else.
Technically speaking, you don't have to be scary to be dark or creepy.
See, The Last of Us. Dark and creepy game, but not scary.
Unsettling if you ask me. Heck, I even find those runes that have the unknown spell a message to be disturbing.
Yep, someone's definitely seen Spell of the Unknown too many times.
Alphabet soup! No!
But if you ask what really creeps me out in this area, it's this.
Ah! Oh wait, sorry, jumped the gun.
This just goes back to what I said about Lavender Town's music. The only reason it sounds so unsettling is because it's in 8-bit. What would have been nice is if you played the version from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver to see if it still sounds as creepy. In fact, allow me to play that right now. Nowhere near as unsettling if you ask me. Really, I think it just sounds weird.
If we're gonna bring up scurry music, then why not make reference to Giratina's boss music?
Or the Distortion World theme, let's not forget that one.
What about New Island's theme?
Ooh, you got me there.
I'm over here. Why did you scroll through all the radio stations when you could have easily just started at the unknown radio broadcast? Or at least close enough so we didn't have to hear...
What even is this? Is this supposed to be the unknown? If so, what are they chanting? Is it some sort of message?
Did this guy go to the Tamashi School of Literary Analysis or something? Let me repeat myself from that video. Curtains! Blue!
And it's still pretty unsettling today.
That's it. I'm taking Spell of the Unknown away now.
Then how are TV and I supposed to commentate on Captain Underpants?
And you know what? I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. Changing the channel now! Ah, that's better.
Oh god, it's the Moon Whiplash!
By now, you can see just how dark and creepy the Pokemon series can be at times.
Yeah, radio station, creepypastas, and alphabet soup.
Oh, so scurry, guys!
So what could possibly be number one? While the previous entry made me feel uneasy, at least you can change the radio signal to something else. Whereas number one, it has to be seen in its entirety if you find it. And it's something that legitimately creeped me out when I saw it.
Prefacing this by mentioning how you can at least change the radio station so you cannot listen to the unknown thing. Keep that in mind because that you can avoid it factor will bite him in the ass after he shows this next one.
What the just happened?
Oh, nice job killing the mood. Again!
Hey look, you have your own sensor. So why couldn't your cameo swear again?
I was just exploring the city, seeing what I could find in every corner and building, only to stumble upon this random building and enter the elevator to reach the next floor.
You say this goes higher than the unknown radio broadcast because you have to experience the scene in its entirety should you find it. My issue is If part of why it's higher is because you have to see the whole thing, why isn't Lavender Town higher? You have to come across it, climb the Pokemon Tower, and defeat the deceased Marowak in order to obtain the Pokeflute, which is essential to continue with the game. Say what you want about it not being extremely dark or creepy in comparison, but Lavender Town's the only mandatory thing on the list. You never have to traverse through the Strange House, never have to read Chandler's Pokédex entry, never have to visit the ruins of Alph, and you never have to use an elevator in a hotel in Lumio City. I'm just saying, if experiencing the whole kit and caboodle is one of your judging criteria, Lavender Town should be higher, if not number 1.
Except you don't have to experience Lavender Town at all, just turn the game off.
Same can be said of all the entries. Point is, get a life.
That's too hard. I'm going back to playing Payday.
But Ryan's dead.
Well, I'll just have to get my friend to replace him.
Hey guys, I'm your new Ryan. It's not the same. It's not the same.
And then this happens. The music stops, I can't seem to move, and then this Hex girl creeps the freak out of nowhere and says, "No, you are not the one." Yeah, quick question. Who even is this Hex girl? And what is she even doing here? Actually, why is she even here?
Can you say sequel hook?
There's a Hex girl in Hotel Rich, whatever you call it.
Dear God, these videos just give me so many pedantic word nerd moments. Is Rishi seem that fucking hard to pronounce? Like, seriously, what the fuck?
And before anyone screams nitpick, let me put it like this. His lack of being unable to pronounce this word can be argued as a lack of research on his part, which can bleed over into his arguments for the placement of the entries.
Who's listening to the elevator? Is this girl gonna do the same thing to another person coming out of the elevator? Wait, is this the same girl? Or are there just a ton of these Hex girls stalking people coming out of elevators?
Meh, my headcanon's better.
Better be sure there's no love in that elevator.
What really creeps me out about this is the Hex girl's model isn't even animating. Combine that with the fact that the music stops and your character doesn't move, it gives the impression the game is glitched. And we all know how creepy glitches can be.
Yeah, but the problem here is that glitches are unintentional. You mean to tell me that Game Freak didn't make that Hex Maniac just to troll players and or leave a sequel hook of some kind? It's been about 20 years since Gen 1. Maybe you should join us in the new 10s.
I don't know what else to say here. This event came the heck out of nowhere, and it is by far the most disturbing and downright creepiest thing I have seen in Pokemon.
That reminds me, how's this moment even dark? Because nothing about this moment was explained, it doesn't come off as tragic or pessimistic, just creepy. Unless you're referring to dark as mysterious, but several comments you made throughout the video imply a different meaning.
There's some weird, dark, and creepy stuff in this series that makes me question just how kid-friendly it really is. This is easily one of the darkest and most disturbing moments in Pokemon I've seen so far. Reading these entries really make me question why these games are rated E.
You know how this issue would have been better handled? Either just calling this creepy things in Pokemon, or better defining dark.
I'm ChaosKey 4013, and watch where you explore, because, well, you never know what's lurking behind you until it's too late.
Just like Big Bubba with you, I take it.
Well, that's it for the list proper. If you two want to tear apart the rest of the video, go ahead, but I'm saving my piece for my final thoughts since all that's left is the outro, credits, and the world ends with you part at the end. Let me know when you're done with that.
You know what? Fuck the credits.
Like Big Bubba?
Never again.
You know, I've got to wonder what this would be classified as. Defilement of a grave since the Chaos Theater is dead, or necrophilia since you're raping a dead corpse. Either way, I'm gonna convince Alex to press charges.
Phew. Just in time. Alright, I played your little game. What now?
Considering you're ruining The World Ends With You, don't you have 6 more days to complete before you come back to life and realize you murdered your family and still have to live with Big Bubba?
Stop with Big Bubba!
Excellent. Now you are ready. Attached to this message is a document that has but a username written on it. This is my Skype username. You are to go on Skype, find this username, and add it to your contacts. I'll accept your request, and then I'll show you your next task.
This is so awkwardly written that there's no way any competent person would word it like this. Okay, let me put it like this. When writing something like this, you'd want to make sure your writing style cannot be traced back to you, so you would use shortened and less complex words as to trick people and computers. Next is the fact that you don't need to explain in such minute details. Seriously, if your villain expects you to make an entire countdown, okay, fine, half a countdown, then he wouldn't need to explain things such as this as if you were a child.
Probably next Halloween because Platoon 11s didn't do shit with this.
Okay, since Gale's thoughts are so long, I'm gonna keep mine short. Sean, let me be blunt here. You are the worst second-rate countdown maker I've seen. Your editing is shoddy and needs work. Your wording is so stilted it would be easy to assume that a robot wrote the script and not an actual human. The choices are ordered in such a way that it's hard to understand why they're placed there. These are things that are seeable in your first countdown and continued until now. While yes, this is a consistent thing, consistency is not always a good thing. Especially if what's consistent isn't good in the first place. Yeah, I'll admit you are on the level of people like Corner Guy, but that's not a compliment since in all honesty, that's the level of countdown makers that are content with wallowing in their mediocrity and ignoring criticism instead of taking it and actually applying it and getting better. Do you know how people like, say, Alex got popular? He got popular by taking criticism people gave him and applying it even when it was mean. Now that I'm done, hey Gale, we're done here. Get on with your final thoughts.
Remember how I mentioned that we'd be getting back to his playing clips of Pokemon XD and how he acknowledged the Ori games in his preface to the video? What's arguably the biggest problem with this list? Every single entry is from the core series of Pokemon games. Nothing from the Mystery Dungeon series, nothing from Colosseum and XD, nothing from any side game of any kind. The reason the lack of anything from Colosseum and XD in particular, despite it showing clips from XD, bothers me so much is that they are two of the darkest Pokemon games out there at this point, as they were intended to be. So many things in the two Ori games are dark and creepy. The villainous team of Cypher is one of the most powerful villainous teams in any of the Pokemon games. They want to take over the world with an army of shadow Pokemon that were stolen from their trainers and turned into fighting machines by artificially closing the doors to the Pokemon's hearts, which is the game's way of saying that Cypher abused those stolen Pokemon and drove them insane. The only way to bring the shadow Pokemon out of that, or purify them to use in-game terms, is to treat the Pokemon well, and depending on the shadow Pokemon in question, the purification process could take a long time, and maybe even require a roundabout way of doing so. Speaking of the shadow Pokemon, Cypher managed to capture legendary Pokemon and turn them into shadow Pokemon. The point is, you can make this kind of list solely using characters and other things from the Ori games, yet outside of the clips used in the preface, those games were completely ignored. It's like ChaosKey treated the audience like a dog he was messing with, holding out a piece of meat going, "Yeah, you want this, don't you? Come and get it. Come and get it." And right as everyone is led to believe he's leading up to something good, possibly from one of the Ori games that still don't seem to get enough love, he goes back to fucking with everyone, messing with the dog by yanking the meat away and eating it. Haha, you ain't getting any of this, bitch. How do you fuck that up? You had so much material to work with and you fucked it up. If you say you're going to use anything for this kind of list, then don't fucking restrict your reference pool to the core games, you twat!
Sean, let me level with you. I don't want you thinking that I'm trying to create some sort of lynch mob against you because I've done 2 commentaries in a row on your countdowns. But at the same time, people will have a higher opinion of you, especially people in the countdown community, if you are more open to actual criticism, regardless of how said criticism is conveyed. Now let me give you this credit. There were times during the list where you tried to compliment the creepy tones these moments gave off. The problem is that it's the only thing you actually tried with during the list. Your intro? You just took your old one and slapped Unknown and Giratina into it. Your transitions? Copy-pasted from your other lists, and it clashes with the material. Your choices? Even just counting the main games, they lacked diversity. 2 of your 5 choices came from Gen 5, and nothing came from Gens 3 or 4. Maybe I could have looked past this if your list had more than 5 entries, if you included more than just main series games, or, most importantly, if you did a good job of being an entertainer. Now, as for stuff past the main series games that Gale didn't cover, what, nothing for the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games? You could have easily done something regarding the hellhole that is the future from the Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, how time is stopped, the sun never rises, and everything is dead. Hell, what about the anime? I know we joked about Spell of the Unknown, but considering that the unknown in that movie were influenced by the emotions of a child that was debatably suffering from post-traumatic stress, why not bring that up? I'm pretty sure that's dark and or creepy. With a series as large and full of life as Pokemon, and with as little restrictions you put on yourself, you had so much to choose from, but settled on so little. In case you haven't caught on yet, this list was the product of laziness, and that, ultimately, was what killed the countdown.
Speaking of kill, aren't you supposed to be dead?
Aren't you supposed to be dead?
Good thing that hasn't happened to me yet.
$5, everyone's dead by the end.
$10.
What are you talking about?
Well, you kinda just jinxed yourself by saying you haven't died yet.
I did not.
You totally did.
Did not, and may God strike me down if I have.
Yes?
Oh, shit.
We told her.
Wait, why weren't we struck down?
Because, Zerarick, we're already dead.
Fuck both of you.
Gale?
No ghost evolution yet.
Oh.
And a Merry Christmas to you too.
But it's not Christmas.
You know what? Fuck you guys, I'm done.
I can't decide whether you should live or die, or you'll probably go to heaven. Please don't hang your head and cry, no wonder why.
Though there is one consolation in this.
I don't care.
Guess what, Zerarick? You have a lamp now. Merry Christmas.
But it's not Christmas.
My heart feels dead inside, it's cold and hard.